Imagine two great rivers flowing across the vast and intricate landscape of human thought, each carving its own path through the terrain of our collective consciousness. One is the river of Western philosophy, originating in the ancient Greek world, where thinkers like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle laid the foundations of logic, ethics, and metaphysics. The other is the river of Eastern philosophy, arising from the heart of Asia, enriched by the teachings of Confucius, Laozi, and the Buddha, emphasizing balance, harmony, and the interconnectedness of all things. These rivers flow in different directions, their currents shaped by unique landscapes and histories, reflecting the diverse ways in which human beings have sought to understand their world. Yet both ultimately seek to answer the fundamental questions of human existence, delving into the mysteries that have puzzled humanity for millennia. What is the nature of reality? Is there a deeper truth that underlies our everyday experiences? How should we live our lives? What principles should guide our actions and decisions? And what is our place in the cosmos? Are we mere specks in an indifferent universe, or do we have a special role to play? For centuries, these two rivers flowed largely separate, each developing its own rich and complex tradition. Western thought, with its emphasis on logic, reason, and the individual, developed in relative isolation, creating a framework that values empirical evidence and rational discourse. Eastern thought, focused on interconnectedness, intuition, and the harmony of nature, charted its own course, offering insights into the cyclical nature of life and the importance of inner peace. Today, however, these two great rivers are beginning to converge as the barriers that once separated them dissolve in our globalized world. In our increasingly interconnected world, there is a growing recognition that both Eastern and Western philosophy have something valuable to offer, and that by integrating their insights, we can address the complex challenges of our time. By exploring both traditions, we can gain a richer, more nuanced understanding of ourselves and the world around us, appreciating the diverse perspectives that each brings to the table. This essay invites you to embark on a journey down these two rivers of thought, to discover their unique currents and explore the possibilities that emerge when they meet, creating a confluence of wisdom that can guide us into the future. At the heart of the difference between Eastern and Western philosophy lies a fundamental distinction in perspective. Western thought, broadly speaking, emphasizes the individual and the power of reason to understand the world. From the ancient Greeks onward, Western philosophers have sought to define the self, to understand its relationship to the external world, and to build systems of knowledge through logic and observation. Eastern philosophy, in contrast, tends to emphasize the interconnectedness of all things. Rather than focusing on the individual, Eastern traditions often view the self as a part of a larger web of relationships, including the natural world and the cosmos as a whole. This interconnectedness is seen as fundamental to reality, and harmony with this web is viewed as essential to a meaningful life. This difference in perspective is reflected in the very language used by each tradition. Western philosophy often speaks of truth, knowledge, and objectivity. Eastern traditions, on the other hand, often use terms like wisdom, insight, and harmony. While these terms are not always mutually exclusive, they point to a difference in emphasis that lies at the heart of the East-West philosophical divide. The Western philosophical tradition, with its emphasis on reason and logic, has its roots in ancient Greece, a civilization known for its profound contributions to human thought. Socrates, though his teachings are known largely through his student Plato, challenged conventional thinking and encouraged people to question their assumptions about the world. His method of dialectical questioning laid the foundation for critical thinking. Plato, in dialogues like The Republic, explored concepts like justice, truth, and the ideal society. His theory of forms proposed that the material world is a shadow of a higher, unchanging reality. His student Aristotle developed a comprehensive system of thought that encompassed logic, ethics, politics, and the natural world. Aristotle's empirical approach and categorization of knowledge influenced countless generations. These early thinkers laid the groundwork for centuries of philosophical inquiry in the West, establishing a tradition that would be built upon by future scholars. During the Renaissance, thinkers like René Descartes revived interest in classical philosophy and emphasized the importance of reason and individual thought. This period marked a shift towards modernity and scientific inquiry. Descartes' famous dictum, "I think, therefore I am," placed the thinking individual at the center of his philosophical system. His work laid the groundwork for modern philosophy and the scientific method. Later, Enlightenment thinkers like Immanuel Kant grappled with questions of morality, knowledge, and the limits of reason. Kant sought to reconcile rationalism and empiricism in his critical philosophy. Kant's work in particular marked a turning point in Western thought. His critique of pure reason examined the capabilities and limitations of human understanding. He argued that while reason is a powerful tool for understanding the world, it is inherently limited. Kant introduced the idea that our perception of reality is shaped by the mind's inherent structures. There are aspects of reality, he suggested, that lie beyond the reach of pure reason. This notion challenged the prevailing belief in the absolute power of human reason. This insight opened the door to new ways of thinking about the relationship between the mind, the world, and the possibility of knowledge. It paved the way for future philosophical explorations into the nature of existence and consciousness. Section 4. Eastern Wisdom, the Tao, Dharma, and Inner Peace. While Western philosophy was developing its tradition of logic and reason, a different kind of philosophy was emerging in the East, one that focused more on the inner world and the interconnectedness of all things. In ancient India and China, thinkers were deeply engaged in exploring the nature of reality, the meaning of life, and the path to inner peace. They sought to understand the universe and our place within it. These profound explorations gave rise to a rich tapestry of philosophical and religious traditions, each offering unique insights and practices aimed at achieving harmony and enlightenment. In China, Taoism, often attributed to the sage Lao Tzu, emphasized living in harmony with the Tao, the natural order of the universe. It taught that by aligning ourselves with the Tao, we could live more fulfilling and peaceful lives. The Tao Te Ching, a foundational text of Taoism, speaks of balance, simplicity, and the importance of letting go of rigid thinking. It encourages us to flow with life's currents rather than resist them. Confucianism, another major Chinese school of thought, stressed ethics, social harmony, and the importance of fulfilling one's role in society. It emphasized the value of education, family, and moral integrity. In India, Buddhism arose from the teachings of Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha. His teachings focused on the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path as a way to end suffering. The Buddha taught that suffering is an inherent part of life, but that by understanding the nature of desire and attachment, we can find liberation from suffering and achieve a state of lasting peace and enlightenment. This state is known as nirvana. Hinduism, with its vast pantheon of deities and complex philosophical systems, offered a path to spiritual liberation through self-realization and union with the divine. It encompasses a variety of practices and beliefs, all aimed at understanding the self and the universe. Section 5. Thinking versus being, different paths to understanding. One of the most striking differences between Eastern and Western philosophy lies in their approaches to understanding the world. Western thought has traditionally emphasized the power of the rational mind. Through logic, observation, and analysis, Western philosophers have sought to uncover the objective truths of the universe. This emphasis on the rationale has led to incredible advances in science, technology, and our understanding of the natural world. Eastern philosophy, however, often takes a different approach. While not rejecting reason outright, many Eastern traditions place a greater emphasis on intuition, experience, and the cultivation of inner wisdom. Meditation, contemplation, and mindfulness are seen as paths to understanding that go beyond the limitations of the rational mind. This difference in approach is reflected in the types of questions each tradition asks. Western philosophy often asks, "What is this?" or "How does this work?" Eastern traditions, on the other hand, are more likely to ask, what does this mean? Or how should I live in light of this? These different approaches to understanding can be seen as complementary, each offering valuable insights into the human condition. Section 6. Progress and Nature. A delicate balance. The contrasting perspectives of East and West are also evident in their views on progress and the natural world. Western thought, particularly since the Enlightenment, has often embraced the idea of progress. Through reason, science and technology, humans can overcome the limitations of nature and build a better world. This belief in progress has fueled remarkable advancements in medicine, technology and living standards. Eastern philosophy, however, often takes a more measured view of progress. While not necessarily rejecting technological advancement, Eastern traditions tend to emphasize the importance of living in harmony with nature. The natural world is seen as a source of wisdom and a reminder of the interconnectedness of all things. This difference in perspective is becoming increasingly relevant in the 21st century. As we grapple with the challenges of climate change, resource depletion, and the unintended consequences of technological advancement, the wisdom of Eastern traditions, with their emphasis on balance and harmony, offers valuable insights. Finding a sustainable path forward requires integrating the best of both worlds, the Western spirit of innovation and the Eastern respect for the natural order.